Hello, everybody. Here we have Cold Days by Jim Butcher, the 14th book in Dresden Files. 3 more to go and I'm caught up. So let me get the bad out of the way first. There's a lot of authors that do this, and Jim Butcher, he's been doing it throughout the Dresden Files, where you get these battle scenes that are really way too drawn out. And they're long, and they take like a full page to describe what might be 2 or 3 seconds worth of time had you been watching a movie or something. And so when you're already reading a book that's 607 pages, like, you could have done without quite a bit of that. Just moved it along. Don't use a page when a paragraph will do. Don't use a paragraph when a couple sentences will do. That's all I would ask. Not so much a negative as just throughout this, there's a few moments where Harry, he's basically just lost. He doesn't know what the hell's going on, and he doesn't know what to do, and he starts meandering around to different folks and different entities trying to get some information together. He just lost. And so was I. I was like, I don't know what, is there an actual villain to this? I didn't understand what was actually going on, but it does come together at the end. But I was lost just like the main character was throughout the book, and maybe that was part of the point, to get you a little bit lost, but it made it a little hard to keep up with from time to time. Other than that, pretty decent. I'm not sure I liked it more than the last one, which I called the least of them, but maybe somewhere in that range. So Harry has a problem. He's back from the dead, but his debt to a fairy queen is not through. So he becomes what is called the Winter Knight. There is a Winter Queen. She's the head of all of them. There is a Winter Lady. There is the Winter Knight. Then there's a Summer Queen, Summer Lady, Summer Knight. And so Harry has to recover, basically. He does get his body back. It's over a series of weeks. There he is in fairyland, and basically the way she kind of brings him back to par is it's sort of like something out of an old Pink Panther movie, where every day he gets attacked, set up by the queen to attack him and kind of, hurry him along to get back in good condition. And that's what happened to him. He goes to a party that's kind of has to do with him. It is his birthday. Harry Dresden's birthday is Halloween. And he makes a new enemy there, one Redcap, who at best he's kind of a little annoyance side character. He does do this thing later in the book where he hits Harry with this dart that Harry was afraid was poisoning him, but he isn't sure what it's doing. Gets the dart out and starts burning up his leg and everything, but it's not really revealed in this book what that was about, so I assume that later on something will come up involving it. So Harry is tasked by Mab, she is the Winter Queen, to kill her daughter, who is the Winter Lady. And he's not sure what in the world this all has to do with. There's some politicking going on, and he's like, I don't know if I can do this. We're gonna give it a try. The theme of this book, it seems to have to do with infection, or I don't know if cursing is a good word. Corruption would be a really good word. Not only is Harry's new mantle as the Winter Knight, it is actually influencing his thoughts. And these are thoughts of power and domination, to the point of getting a little rapey in the mind, especially with throughout, we have Molly, his apprentice, who does a very good job of helping him out in this book, by the way. She and Harry have some banter that goes back and forth between them, but in this, he's getting tired of hearing that banter, and he starts having thoughts about doing something about it and putting in her place in ways that are either violent or sexual or both. And she detects this. She's very big on her mind powers, but at the same time she worries, but she trusts him, so she doesn't go running from the room. we see Harry have to look in the mirror a few times. So like there is a summer night, like I said, and Harry does have a face-off with him. And basically the summer night, he just does what he's told. You just shut up and do what you're told. And that's Harry looking in his future if he doesn't keep himself under control from being under control. The daughter of Mab, who he's supposed to kill, she is not the main thing behind everything going on, but she's being manipulated. She herself is infected. She herself is corrupted. And he can see his future in her as well. So there is some pretty good world building that goes on here, along with this idea that he has to kill the daughter of the queen. He is informed that there's this island just a ways off Chicago in Lake Michigan. I don't know if it's a real island. I never looked it up. I don't think there is one there. But in this case, Harry is chosen as like a steward of it. He's actually called the warden of this island by the spirit of the island. We come to find out that this is, if not a prison, then a plug. Because in Fairyland, we find out more about their dealings, and the fairy queen. Harry goes out to like the ends of Fairyland, and there we run into this area. It's like a gate, a guardianship. It's a wall. The walls are bigger than buildings, and these beings called the Outsiders are trying to get in. Some kind of outer dark monsters that want to get in, and her job as the Winter Queen and the whole Winter Fairy Court is to keep them at bay. Then the Summer Court's job apparently is they're there to keep the Winter Court in check so they don't use their power to essentially take things over. So the Winter folks keep the Outsiders in check, and the Summer folks keep the Winter people in check, and that seems to be the setup, which Harry runs into here. So the island, I guess you'd call it a prison or a plug, like I said. What we find out, it'd be like taking a shape. In this case, what Harry sees when he's shown what's going on, it's like I think it's a pentagram shape, and then inside that pentagram are a bunch of little pentagram shapes. Inside those are a bunch of little more pentagram shapes, and so on and so on and so on. And it's this giant magical ward that keeps them all at bay. And if this is shut down, which it's like about to erupt like a volcano or more like a nuclear explosion, but rather than just a big kapow, it's a bunch of creatures that are just going to pour out and destroy the area around them. And so it's like Harry's getting it at both ends. He's got Fairyland to deal with and this island to deal with, and the Outsiders are getting in both. And the daughter of the queen seems to be infected by these Outsiders controlling what she does, just like Harry's being controlled by this mantle that's set upon his shoulders. So in the first book, Harry mentions Santa Claus. And I said, well, I want to hear about Santa Claus. There's scenes with Santa Claus in here. So in the opener, part of the opener is that Harry is going to go to a party in Fairyland, and he meets Kris Kringle. And they kind of hit it off a little bit. He's kind of impressed with Harry a little bit. Later on, there is he's called the Earl King, and he runs this thing called the Wild Hunt, if you've ever heard of that in mythology. You may either run from it, join it, or get killed by it. Once it goes off, it goes off. And so Kris Kringle was kind of joined in with it, and part of the merry chase and the convoluted mess of a battle scene is them running Harry down. But instead of doing one of those three things, Harry does another thing. He decides to take it over, and he defeats Kris Kringle in combat. He then defeats the Earl King in combat. Well, they kind of wanted to give Harry power over the hunt, so they kind of threw the fight so that he can take the hunt and go and deal with what he's got to deal with on the island before it bursts open. because there is a ritual being performed there to break it open by none other than the daughter of the Winter Queen herself. So Molly, for her part, she once he has come back, she's set up. She's got a huge apartment. She's had her own dealings with supernatural beings, and they hooked her up with a nice place to stay. She helped Harry out by here's a place you can stay until you get on your feet or something. They have it's basically a master and apprentice relationship, but Molly's utterly in love with Harry, and they've made that clear throughout the books. And he just will not return this, and he says he can't return this, and due in no small part that she is the daughter to a very good friend of his. I do wish that Butcher would stop Harry from mentioning he does this often. He must have done this like 10 times now. Well, I've known her since she was in a training bra. Okay, I guess maybe I understand it to a degree, because he's trying to tell himself, even though she's very attractive and he could just get her if he wanted to, she was just always a little girl to him. I guess that's the way he's trying to say it, but he could say it in some other way other than, well, I've known her since she was in a little bra. Well, God, dude, come on. It's a little weird. But Molly has a big arc in this. And what's going to be interesting to see is how Harry's going to deal with it. Molly even offers herself up to him at one point, despite the compulsion of the mantle to just take her. She goes, well, if I just give it up, you're not really taking anything. And he refuses to give in to the temptation being brought to him by this new title he has that's trying to take over his mind. It has to be mutual between the two of them, or he's not interested, but he's also not interested at all. So the two, like I said, there's your winter and summer queen, winter and summer ladies, winter and summer knights. So the two ladies, the two seconds really, are done away with. And those are mantles upon them as well, and they jump. Molly gets jumped, and she is now the Winter Lady. So we have the Winter Queen, who is just an utter antagonist to Harry, but is now his boss. The Winter Lady, who is now his apprentice, and now he is the Winter Knight. And so how this is, and the thing is about any of these fairy women, their sexuality is on full display at all times. And so now Molly is going to take on this mantle. And her and Harry are going to be closer now than they were probably as master and apprentice. So we'll see how that plays out in the next book. So Harry hasn't gotten out from under the Fairy Queen's thumb. His apprentice is now turned, and now they're all on the side of Fairy now, and they are going to have to deal with all that constant backstabbing political madness. Murphy. So again, during the big, long, convoluted battle, Murphy and Harry, they're having a good blast. They're charged up. In the heat of battle, they kiss each other, but in the end, once again, well, we're not going to be together. But she does hint about, well, you've got Molly, and you're going to live for centuries, and I'm not, and whatever. Maybe you should. So they keep trying to push Harry towards Molly, and to see how this will turn out. Murphy has still been offered one of the three swords of the crucifixion. And she can, I wonder if in the end now she will at some point take it up, and that's what gets her and Harry together, or if they're just going to be friends through the whole thing and never get together. It's a little unpredictable, I have to say, and that's always a good thing. Like I said, just a little messy in the whole end battle, but otherwise very interesting. And moving on to Skin Game now, book 15. Harry Dresden, Chicago's only professional wizard, is about to have a very bad day. Because his winter knight to the Queen of Air and Darkness, Harry never knows what the scheming Mab might want him to do. Usually it's something awful. Mab has traded Harry's skills to pay off a debt, and now he must help a group of villains led by Harry's most despised enemy, Nicodemus Archleon. I don't know how to pronounce that. To break into a high security vault so that they can then access a vault in the Never Never. That's Fairyland, basically. Problem is, the vault belongs to Hades, Lord of the freaking underworld. Okay. And Dresden is dead certain that Nicodemus has no intention of allowing any of his crew to survive the experience. Dresden's always been tricky, but he's going to have to up his backstabbing game to survive this mess. So I wonder then, so it was Mab who tried to get Harry to kill her daughter, and at the end of it, Harry challenged her and made sure that she knew that he knew that you didn't want to kill her because that was your daughter, and there's still something good about you somewhere in there. And she vaguely admits that that is the fact. So will Harry stand up to her and get out of this? Does that make her want to keep him more? We shall see. Book 15. Video by Sunday, Monday. Well, how long's this one? That one was 607 pages. What do we got here? Oh, God. I haven't got to the end yet. 580, 590, 599. Another chunker. Another big battle. I'll tell you one thing. Maybe it's to keep the side characters effective. But for example, we have here Harry, not with a staff, but with a gun, and he does wield a rifle in this. And then here he is, got his staff back, but then there's another revolver involved. It's like he hasn't gone full Doctor Strange and he can just walk around wielding magic. You know, here's a gun, Harry. Okay, it's pretty effective. And so a lot of your non-magical characters use weapons to deal with supernatural beings, and I guess that keeps them in the game. Is that what that's for? Some meta reason? We shall see. So that will be book 15, Skin Game, 16 and 17. So week and a half, and I can be all caught up, and I'm in desperate need of a genre change. I have to admit, I'm not getting burnt out on this, but I do need a change up. But I'm that close to the end, so I am just gonna keep going. Thank you very much. See you next time then. Bye-bye.